Friday, July 24th, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. The removal of George Payne's ministerial portfolio has not gone down well with several residents in St. Andrew, with some even threatening to vote against the Barbados Labour Party in the next general election. The Barbados Today team visited the constituency yesterday to get a sense of how residents were feeling about the reshuffling of cabinet. Our news team also visited some communities in the St. James North constituency, where Edmund Hinkson is the Member of Parliament. He too was removed from cabinet. In both areas, no one wanted to speak on camera or give their names. However, some of those who spoke said they were not pleased with the reshuffle. Some were satisfied, while others said they did not care.
This shows that she is conscious of the performances of the ministers, and if she is not satisfied, she is willing to be bold enough to make changes to see if better can be improved.
I guess, as she said, Hinkson and Payne was there, especially Payne. He was there for quite a while. So it's nothing wrong with reshuffling, but I still think that she could have given Hinkson a ministry. He had a lot on his plate. He really had a lot. But she could have given him, a ministry. I just think so.
Tropical storm warning is now in effect for Barbados as Gonzalo moves towards the west near 14 miles per hour. At 5 a.m., Tropical Storm Gonzalo was located east-southeast of Barbados with maximum sustained winds near 60 miles per hour. Storm force winds extend outward only to 25 miles. Forecasters at the Barbados Met Services say significant convection associated with Gonzalo has been consistent during the past few hours, and re-strengthening of this feature is still possible as it continues on its westward to west-northwestward motion with an increase in forward speed throughout the weekend. On its forecast track, the center of Tropical Storm Gonzalo is expected to pass approximately 90 miles to the south of Barbados on Saturday. Met officials say there is still the possibility of Gonzalo becoming a Category 1 hurricane within the next day or two, considering the uncertainty in the intensity forecast due to its compact size. An Air Force Reserve reconnaissance aircraft is scheduled to investigate the storm later this afternoon. There appears to be contradictory messages coming from the government as it relates to COVID-19 protocols. That's according to People's Party for Democracy and Development spokesperson for Culture, Alan Springer, who has called for government to enforce a set of rules by which everyone has to abide. During a press conference yesterday, Springer said, while COVID-19 Czar Richard Carter was encouraging persons to adhere to the protocols, government, on the other hand, was doing the opposite, given its recent decision to relax restrictions on July 24 and August 1st. On those 2 days, gatherings beyond the current 500-person limit will be permitted.
Minister King, on the one hand, is talking about extending the numbers to service his special events. But these plans are very much at odds with the utterance coming from the COVID czar and calling for a pulling back, especially from the entertainment sector in particular, in the way they're managing, or should I say mismanaging, the protocols. Now, I think we're all aware that Minister King once sang of wanting a plantation to manage or mismanage. It seems very much a case of the latter, with government in conflict with each other as to how best to manage the reopening of our island nation. The PM clearly not happy with the way things are going. This government is drowning in missteps. They can't even agree on what we should be doing in terms of contributing to the global management of COVID-19, nor, it would seem, how to manage the country.
The PDP spokesman also raised concerns surrounding the recent visit and behavior of Canadian superstar rapper Drake. Springer charged that Drake had flouted the protocols and called for an even playing field for all.
The entertainment sector in particular comes under close scrutiny for reasons which should be fairly clear. Richard Carter hinted at, for example, Drake's presence on the island, and to the behavior of his entourage and his fan club as representing some flouting of the protocols. But Carter really needs to underscore this with reference to the cliff. where persons were seen not to be following the social distancing protocols. It is one side addressing local Barbadians with the call to adhere to the rules, but as the island opens its doors to visitors, we need to see that the same heavy hand of the Tsar is waving in the direction of establishments like the Cliff. The same rule needs to apply to all.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, the Antigua and Barbuda government is heading to Parliament on Tuesday in a bid to extend the state of emergency by 3 months. We get more in this ABS News report.
A state of emergency was declared in Antigua and Barbuda on the 25th of March, 12 days after the announcement of the country's first confirmed case of COVID-19. After extensions, the current state of emergency will end on the 31st of July. Addressing reporters at Thursday's post-cabinet media briefing, Information Minister the Honourable Melford Nicholas says the measure will be further extended.
It gives the government the coverage under that particular provision to be able to have the flexibility of imposing different curfew restrictions. This does not indicate that we perceive that there is any worsening of the situation, but the government must have that particular option.
The Information Minister says the curfew, which is also set to end on the 31st of July, will also be extended.
Both the curfew and the regulations would come to an end at the 31st of July. We cannot put the curfew in place, an extended curfew in place, without the emergency powers. So once the Parliament approves that on Tuesday, more than likely at the following cabinet meeting, we will extend the curfew period as well.
And finally, on the international scene, President Donald Trump has cancelled the pre-election Republican Party convention in Florida, blaming the coronavirus flare-up. It comes as the number of cases of COVID-19 in the United States passed 4 million. Part of the convention will go ahead in North Carolina, where Trump will formally be nominated as the Republican presidential candidate. More in this report from NBC Nightly News.
A rare retreat from President Trump. With cases of COVID surging in Florida, the president announcing he is canceling his plans to hold the Republican National Convention in Jacksonville.
But I looked at my team and I said, the timing for this event is not right. It's just not right with what's happened recently, the flare-up in Florida. To have a big convention, it's not the right time. It's really something that, for me, I have to protect the American people.
The president saying he is still trying to determine the location of his convention speech, and delegates will cast their votes in North Carolina, where it was originally scheduled. Tonight, the president was asked what made him change his mind.
I would just say safety. We have to be vigilant. We have to be careful. And we also have to set an example.
And on schools reopening in the fall, the president said the CDC will soon provide more guidance and for the first time acknowledged some schools may need to delay.
In cities or states that are current hotspots, and you'll see that in the map behind me, districts may need to delay reopening for a few weeks, and that's possible. That'll be up to governors. The decision should be made based on the data and the facts on the grounds in each community, but every district should be actively making preparations to open.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.